Super Bowl 57 is come and gone, so we got plenty to talk about as the Chiefs reign supreme yet again. LeBron hits a milestone, and pitchers and catchers report. This is the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back once again to the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. This is Chad and the Mark with
Mr. Brown
and
Canadian Boogie.
And we didn't get to watch the Super Bowl together. You, Mr. Brown, had some extracurriculars with the family. You're back from the happiest place on earth. Maybe you can give a scathing review at the end of the show for Disney World. So we didn't get to watch the Super Bowl together, but you all did get to watch, correct?
Yeah, I got to watch it from my hotel, and the part that killed me was I had my fish fry on the Sunday before the Super Bowl, okay? With some people came over, and it just clicked at that point that I was going to be gone for the Super Bowl. And I realized my trip was coming up, but it didn't click.
That was on the Super Bowl.
And I'm like, This sucks. This freaking sucks. But anyways, so we got to watch it in the hotel. Was going to take a little dip in the hot tub, but then we ended up getting into the pool. But anytime you're in a pool in February, you can't really complain too much.
No, that's
outdoor pool.
Probably the highlight of your trip.
Probably.
Biggie, who'd you watch it with? I was just sitting at home watching it with the family. What about you?
I did the same. Me and the kids sat and watched it, made some food, enjoyed a little bit of Super Bowl finger foods. As not having a rooting preference, it was a fun game to watch.
All right, so let's get into it. I thought it was a great game. Like it was back and forth. You had some big plays. I thought when the fumble by Jalen Hurts happened, I thought it was going to be over. I just thought the momentum swung, and we've seen Jalen Hurts not play well in big games from college. So I was like, it's going to unravel. And dude stood tall, hung in the game. They ended up jumping out on a lead. Kansas City comes back. They go up by 7. Philly answers the bell. It's got everything that you possibly want.
Dude, Jalen Hurts balled out. The 3 best throws in that game were all his.
That touchdown.
The left dime, the one to Goddard on the sideline.
Where he's like the high ball.
Yeah. 3 best balls in that game. I was impressed.
I mean, Travis Kelce even made the point that he could have been the MVP of the game in a losing effort.
Yeah. We don't like to do that in any sport. But, man, you felt like he did everything because the running game Philly had wasn't really existent except for him. I guess neither was Kansas City's for that part. It really just came down to we're going to throw the ball 40 times.
You didn't expect Kansas City's to be there, though.
No, but I mean, it's their best running back is the
McKinnon.
And
then you had Pacheco.
I couldn't remember his name.
Draft pick. It's the year for 7th-round rookies.
It is. I mean, it's now or never, baby. Make your mark. But
McKinnon's not a runner. He's a dump pass guy.
Yeah,
he makes the best thing.
And they both of them kind of have that patchwork. Backfield, which makes you wonder about teams like the Cowboys who are spending all that money on their backfield. Maybe not the right way to go. So, like, Saquon Barkley's up. It'll be interesting to see what happens for, like, a deal with him. But anyway, thoughts on the game overall? I felt like it was a great game. Hated the ending. Do we want to get into that?
I mean, it was a great game back and forth, and I feel like Vegas knew that the spread was going to be hard to pick because they didn't. There was no clear cut favorite
because it was 2.5,
right? But I ran a poll the day of the game, and there was hundreds of votes, and it was 51 to 49 Kansas City. That's how close it was. So no one really knew what was going to happen. I think it depended on everyone thought like Pat had 2 weeks to prepare and get his ankle right. And you could tell early on he was scrambling. He looked a lot better than the AFC Championship game.
Oh, he had that huge run at the end.
Right. But no one really knew how to go because of the health of Pat.
That Philly had the better roster. KC's got the best player.
Right. Overall, Philly's a better team.
Yeah. But, and it was down to the wire. And I'll tell you what, we talk about MVPs and things like that. The furthest thing from the MVP was the damn field. Like, what was that?
You see that thing they said they grew that for 2 years. It cost $800,000, and then you had guys changing cleats after the second drive. It was horrible.
How are you going to have a Super Bowl and not even have a good playing surface?
Right.
Let's just go to Lambeau.
How did you test this out? Let's go back to the vet and play on concrete and AstroTurf.
Make that make sense. You pay
like,
all this for like half for like commercials. You pay what you pay, and we can't even get the playing field right.
Yeah, it made me think of this Super Bowl in San Francisco, Broncos, Panthers, and there's this famous clip. It's like a Vine or whatever you call them, those 6-second deals. The left tackle for the Panthers gets pushed back with his feet planted in the ground.
This is on skates.
Because the field was so bad. Like, I don't get it.
A pile of cleats there on the sideline. They showed up.
They did. It was like that. That's not a good look. Like, whatever company finally got the big bid, they're never getting that again. Like, you're done. Hopefully, it's not a tale of a bad ending for a small business owner. But anyway.
So, at the end of the game, everybody making a big deal about the holding call. Two things. One, it was a hold.
It was.
He did admit to it, but it was the only defensive holding call enforced in the entire game. And when they show the other angle, you'll see the left tackle, I don't know what his name is for Kansas City, has a hands to the face on the defensive end. That was missed. So you call them both, it's offsetting.
I feel like the media is doing the best they can to only show the photo from the, like, looking toward the end zone.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell he's pulling. You see the sideline photo, and he clearly has it. They keep showing that one, so everybody keeps talking about it. It's just the biggest pain in the ass. It didn't decide everything, but it was a call. It's kind of
us, Jalen,
right? Like, we just wanted the finish as a fan, and I feel like it was a call that wasn't getting called all game, and then they called it there, and I think that's the way he answered it when the quote from what's his name, Rayberry or whatever, that did the hold. He's like, it was a hold, but I was hoping they'd let it slide.
Right.
Which that's kind of implying they've been letting it slide, I think. Maybe not. Maybe I'm looking too much in. It's like speeding, right? Like, almost everybody speeds. When you get caught, you're guilty. You just hope the cop pulls you over isn't getting you for a 72 mile per hour and a 70. It needs to be 80, right?
Yeah, so here's my thing. So it fed into this big conspiracy theory even more. Is the NFL scripted?
That's the most frustrating.
So my point is, I'm asking you two, if it is scripted, which it's not, why?
Wait. You can't. He answered the question for us.
You're leading the witness.
Why would it be scripted towards Kansas City?
But it's not.
Why would Goodell want Kansas City to win?
But it's not.
So you can get those monster hugs afterwards. You see that video? He's stabbing everybody up. He's picking D linemen up in barrels.
I know, but why? Would he have not done that if Philly won?
I can't explain what the Illuminati picks and why they do it. One of these players for the Chiefs is going to be president one day. It's clearly.
That's what it is?
Yes.
Did the Simpsons say they had to win the Super Bowl or something?
Probably.
I mean, but so there's no overwhelmingly reason that Kansas City should have won for the fix.
So, the best story is one that has a good plot, and I don't know what the plot of the story for the Chiefs being the chosen ones is. I can't come up with that.
You want to know why the Chiefs won the game? They go into halftime with 14 points. 7 of it's off of defense or
the fumble.
What I'm trying to say here, scoop and score, right?
Yep.
So at halftime, they're down 24-14, but they've only had one good drive on offense. What happens? Andy Reid, one of the great offensive minds of our time, if not the best, goes in at halftime, makes some adjustments. Him and Eric Bieniemy, if you listen to him, they come out in the second half. They scored on every possession. The only one they didn't get a touchdown on was the last one where they settled for a field goal. So as much as we want to say it's scripted, this, that, and the other, give Andy Reid that offensive credit.
Let's go back 2 weeks in our time machine. I feel like you two kind of shit over Andy Reid a little bit, saying he's underachiever. Now, is this 2 Super Bowls now?
I don't think
beating his old team.
I would have to check the tape. I don't think we were necessarily.
There's a commercial that shows this. Let's check the tape.
Throw the flag.
Yeah.
I feel like
saying was that for having been to 8 championship games, he had 1 Super Bowl to show for it.
Yeah, like Hall of Fame coach. I never taken that from him, but it's kind of like the Mike Tomlin and Pittsburgh thing, and if not for Brady, like what's Reed's kryptonite been? I think it's been not having good quarterbacks. Like, I'm not trying to shit on McNabb, but like maybe McNabb
shit on McNabb.
would have been a spot.
Shape of the Super Bowl. He fucking puked in the
Easy, T.O. Calm down, T.O. This is my quarterback.
I'm playing on a broken leg.
But like, so like maybe that's how magical he is. Maybe the only reason why that guy had a 10-year career. And people are going to get mad at us for saying that, but like, you know, he had the wherewithal to go draft Mahomes. He had Alex Smith, who was looking great. Like
Alex Smith at the time reminded me of like a Jimmy G type quarterback. He wouldn't lose the game, but he didn't.
I feel like he was a little better.
A little bit better.
Okay,
I mean, he's a little bit better, but to me, same type of mold.
Right. So like he saw something in Mahomes. You know,
he didn't watch the West Virginia game.
No, 0-2. But he saw something in Mahomes that other people didn't because he wasn't the first QB taken.
Well, and watching him in college, I knew he was a gunslinger, but I didn't think he would ever be what we've witnessed in the NFL.
No.
Because by this age, compared to Brady, he's got better stats than Brady.
We got to get to that conversation. But go ahead. Biggie has a thought.
His first 5 years started. What I was going to say is that they took him 11th. Mitch Trubisky went ahead of him and somebody else.
Well, they should have. Trubisky beat me in the fantasy championship.
Yeah, it was destiny.
Mahomes. So that's why.
Mahomes got
Full
going
circle.
to a good situation, play behind a pro like Smith for a year. And what I was going to say is Andy Reid going to retire? He's won his second Super Bowl. He's in his 60s.
I don't think he wants to retire.
Why would he retire now? He finally has a top.
Like, he's got the league by the balls right now.
He's got the best quarterback in the league. Why would he retire?
Like, if Mahomes reeled off 3 championships in the next 6 years, it wouldn't surprise you, right?
Like so, to your point. So we're changing. Let's change. All right, we're going to switch the conversation. Super Bowl, great game. Chiefs definitely deserve to win. Better team is the Eagles, but better quarterback is Kansas City. I think it's where we landed.
I just have one Andy Reid question for you. We've all seen him in the punt, pass, and kick video, right, from back in the day when he was 13 and he was super huge.
Yeah.
When he was super
jersey
huge.
he was wearing that night as his kid.
Refrigerator Perry?
Oh.
Mean Joe Green.
None of the jerseys fitted because he was too big. He had to borrow NFL player Les Jortheson's number 34
Oh,
jersey
good old Les Jorthison.
Nice.
He had to borrow an NFL player's jersey at age 13 to compete.
That's amazing.
And Mr. Brown has offensive lineman calves. Like there's some correlation here.
There.
Yeah.
You should just shave off the beard and have the Andy Reid mustache and just let yourself go.
No.
So
Hawaiian shirts all year long.
No. I could. That might do well on the dad bod single scene.
That's dad bod on steroids.
That's right.
Are we enjoying how much Travis Kelce talks, or are we getting tired of listening to Travis Kelce talk?
I mean, it's energy. If you're a Chiefs fan, you love it. I'm already more tired of like Mahomes' brother and his
TikTok.
Yeah.
Media.
Here's my thing. So, obviously, Chad wouldn't like it against his Bengals the first week, but kind of the mayor asked for that.
Yeah.
So
Cincinnati, you knew they were in trouble when Eli.
Well, Eli Apple's always talking shit. That's the thing. If you follow the Bengals at all, that's not new. So that's just on brand for him.
So
but the mayor, no, that was stupid.
Kelce is a natural on the mic. Like if he went to the WWE, he would be a natural.
Yeah, don't rattle the cage.
All right,
and
so
he's not going to cut a promo.
Arguably, which I think he is, he's the best tight end in the game today.
Maybe ever.
So he backs up what he talks shit about.
Ooh, Biggie didn't like me saying that.
No, but
he did a whole segment on that.
He backs up the shit that he says, and he puts it on the field. I mean, he's a mismatch problem no matter who you play.
Yeah, a lot of what you see on there and you hear people talk about, why does it seem like Travis Kelce gets so many free releases? Well, they will give them to him sometimes, but him and Mahomes have this connection where they see it the same way. So it's like they're really in the backyard. That's why Kelce's open. He was supposed to run a different route, and he's like, there's a hole over here. Patrick will find me.
Yeah.
He is great at finding a quick, open, weak spot. That's what makes him good. He knows how to be open.
We don't have to have the segment. Who's number one? Tony Gonzalez?
Gronkowski.
I knew he was going to say Gronkowski.
Oh, ever?
Dude, he would be a Hall of Fame left tackle.
I'm not saying
I'm talking true tight end.
All right, now that's where the argument's going to go because I think at the end of Kelsey's career offensively, he's going to look a lot better. But But Biggie's right. But people
if he stays on this pace, he will.
Gronk is underrated for his
They're the
ability.
same age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's over, Biggie.
Oh, no. Not if you actually watch the games. That's like saying that Shannon Sharp or somebody that played back then is dog shit because their numbers are. That's like saying that Mike Ditka was dog shit.
You've been watching too much.
You've
been watching too much Skip Bayless and shit. Did you see how he set that up, that whole thing? If you watch games.
I watched me, killing fantasy, whereas Biggie's hadn't been relevant for 5 years.
Ooh.
All right, let's stay on
I watched
plan.
the games.
All right, so we watched the Super Bowl. Watched a lot of games going into. All right, so let's talk about Mahomes though. We started on Kelsey for some reason. Wanted to talk about Mahomes and like his just GOAT candidacy at this point. Like that foundation's been built, has it not?
To me, I think right now, obviously you got Brady, Montana, the Peytons of the world, but like with the stats now, Mahomes is right there. He's at the Peyton level right now.
Yeah. Right. And Brady was more of a game manager early in his career. And then he could make all those throws. But like when you compare Brady and Mahomes' numbers, like it's not like he's smashing through it. I think it's probably more apt to compare him to like a Peyton or somebody as far as regular season stats.
My question is, because, and I know Brady had some great years, but like Mahomes' stats are like
godly.
Yeah.
God tier.
So let's say that Mahomes ends up with 4 or 5 rings and crushes Brady's numbers. Is he the GOAT?
I think if he gets 5, he probably is.
Because he's going to be lacking in the championships. I don't see how he passes Brady there.
Yeah. That
would be nearly impossible to do because the AFC is a lot thicker at the top than the NFC is. If you look at next year,
if he
does are back, the Bills are back.
I know.
Sean Payton's coming into the division now.
What would it take statistic or ring wise for him to pass in the GOAT status?
Well, if he does 5 and he prevents Josh Allen and Joe Burrow from ever getting rings, that's a damn good. It goes back to like the Jordan thing about how many guys he kept out of the title picture.
Right.
Like if Mahomes is able to do that in this loaded AFC East that you just talked about, like I think that adds to that candidacy there. So I guess the initial thing I just wanted to understand if we're on the same page, like it's okay to start having that conversation. I mean, he's not there yet. We're not saying that. But like
then if he stays on this pace,
trajectory.
What's funny to me is how quickly all those conversations change. Because when Brady won 3, it was you're no Joe Montana. Then by the time he'd won his 4th,
they kept moving the goalpost on you.
MVPs, it was Joe never lost.
Yeah.
So it took a really long time for Brady to surpass what Joe did. But now 5 years in, we're all kind of on the same. Well, Mahomes, that's his projection. If he falls short of that, now is it a disappointment?
I don't think it's a disappointment. I think if his career ended right now, like it's a hell of a career.
To me, I'm talking right now, it's between Mahomes and Brady. I think there's no doubt in my mind.
You think he's already that?
Health-wise, he's going to pass Joe Montana. Just my opinion. At this point, it boils down between him and Brady at the end.
Yeah.
If he don't get hurt.
He's going to be in the conversation. It's 1A, 1B.
Yeah. I just hope he stays healthy.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. He's a great guy. Like, I hate the Chiefs. I don't want them to win.
You don't like his family.
The TikTokers are crazy.
I'm for the Chiefs not to win because I like Mahomes.
In spite of all that, Mahomes is such a nice guy.
Tired of Jackson Mahomes.
Even though he puts ketchup on his steak, like he's a good dude. Like he's not getting in trouble. Like he's not going to be any quarterback you're going to worry about. He's not going to be Kyler Murray getting Call of Duty points.
All right, so we've tickled his taint long enough. Can we move on to NFL news?
So there's a lot of news.
But staying in the AFC West real quick.
You going to start with your Raiders?
No, I don't want to talk about that yet. So Sean Payton.
Did you see who he's going to bring in as a defense coordinator?
Rex Ryan.
Yeah.
Really?
What's up with that in Denver, man?
That Sean Payton thing was weird because we heard his name rumored in Denver. Then it wasn't going to happen.
Did they announce that today?
Take a job.
What?
Is that news today?
What?
Sean Payton.
It's between championship games and Super Bowl news.
Right, but he didn't want anything to do with that.
Oh, but he took the job.
He took it though? All right, so never mind. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about.
You didn't know he was in Denver?
No. Who's because he turned down a bunch of jobs. I think I just got confused because I know he he was being considered for like 3 positions, right? And then who was the other one? Harbaugh came out of the woodwork a little bit. I don't know. I guess I got. It was amazing how many coaches like just took themselves out of candidacy for. What was it? The Texans' job was one of them, and I thought Denver was one too, but maybe it was.
He's there, man.
He's there. All right, so my bad.
So then, Rex Ryan bringing him back, and just to me,
that's really news to me.
It's odd. It's an odd fit, given how poorly Russ did, and that Sean's not a fan of Russ, is what the rumors are.
Yeah, that was the strangest part of it. Was he didn't want that job because he didn't want to deal with Russ.
He didn't want to ride.
He didn't want that contract.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he's very limited.
Yes.
Unlimited trade.
So, I mean, you like the fit or no?
I love Sean Payton. I think he's a great coach, and he'll make it work.
Yep.
So, to me, that division, like going into this season, everyone was like, wow, what a division. Obviously, the Broncos fell short. The Raiders fell short. Chargers did what the Chargers do, and then the Chiefs do what they do. But it's not getting any easier in AFC West. And the Raiders released Derek Carr. I'm hearing Jimmy G rumors now to match up with your boy from New England, McDaniels, coming to Sin City. I don't like it at all.
Ooh, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't like it, but it was time to move on from Carr, and they've got the Raiders projected to go QB at 7. So.
Yeah, but who would you want, or have you looked?
The dude from went from Penn State. What's his name? The quarterback.
Penn State.
Oh, you asked me too quick. I just saw the mock drafts.
I know that everybody likes the guy from Kentucky.
Kentucky. He went from Penn State to Kentucky.
Okay.
What's his name?
I can't remember.
Tanny or Finney or something.
I'm not. I haven't got my Mel Kiper Jr. hat on yet, so I don't know.
But yeah, that's who the Raiders are projected to get.
Okay.
At 7.
Well, I mean. They couldn't trade him. He didn't want to be traded.
He said he wouldn't waive it.
Yeah.
And if you're him, why would you? Because then the team you're going to has to give stuff up for you. Where do you think he's going to end up? I'm hearing a lot of.
I've heard 4 destinations.
But wasn't he going to get paid $40 million?
Yeah, 40. That's ridiculous. Houston, Indianapolis, Tennessee, and someone else.
The Jets.
Yeah.
I think that he'd be perfect in Indianapolis.
Oh, that's been the perfect fit we've talked about since because to me they like the retreads, but at least Carr is still in the middle of his career. He's not washed up. He's just been average, so they're getting better. I mean, better than retread. He's average.
Carr is a good quarterback. He is a good quarterback.
He's kind of the bar. Like he's on the top side of it. He's not really high up it, but for someone you want as a starter, I think he checks those boxes. I think so. If you're like tennis, like Ryan Tannehill is under the bar. He's the guy that's close, but you really don't want to have long term.
So what do the Packers do?
That's what I wanted to ask next.
Moving off of A-Rod. He's doing his dark room thing.
What the hell's that?
No idea. I figured you would know.
No, I didn't have time. I just saw it before I came down here.
Chad's doing the dark room thing right now with his glasses.
I know. No, he's doing what's the darkness therapy or something, or darkness
4 days where it's all dark.
Like, is he in like one of those little chambers you get in? They desensitize you.
I don't know. I saw where he made a bunch of comments about the Epstein client list, so I don't think he's coming out of that dark room.
Oh, crap.
Well, so he also seen one of the a folklore creature when he was down in South America.
Yeah.
Like that.
The chupacabra?
Yeah, but it was like some dude that like appears in the shadows.
The Shadow Man.
Yeah, and so he's a firm believer in that.
I'm sure. I believe that he believes that.
I believe they're probably having some bonding in the dark room right now. I also saw that there's probably about 10, 12 black women in there with him.
Where's he at?
I don't know.
It's parts unknown.
If you're one of these teams and you can have 2 years of Aaron Rodgers or 4 years of Derek Carr, which one do you take?
Derek Carr.
I go Carr.
I think Rodgers is in such a weird, like, it's crazy because he could come back and have.
I mean, is he just off the reservation at this point?
Because like 2 years ago he was great, and then he's too.
I love it now.
I was
too loose.
For the Raiders' perspective, I would take Rodgers because of Devontae.
Well, way
but that wouldn't be for any other team. I
right.
think.
Like, what about the Jets? What about the Jets?
Well, Jets want him bad. That's why they hired what's his name that got fired from Denver this year. He's still looking to call timeouts. What the hell? They fired him. Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah. Because that was the whole reason why they tried to get him in Denver to begin with before they got Russ. You can't convince me otherwise. That's why that whole experiment failed.
Yeah.
So do you think will he go to New York? Would he want to?
I could see him going to New York. It'd be funny because it'd be the exact same path Brett Favre took out of Green Bay.
He'll come back just in time for Kirk Cousins to retire, and he'll take over Minnesota.
The Jets,
and they say it's not scripted,
are a good team, playoff caliber talent. They just needed somebody at the controls of quarterback take them over the top. It's not Zach Wilson. I like Mike White, but I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
They'll get somebody.
All right. Go to Miami. I think Tua finally died.
So, are you up for a Patriots or a Tom Brady trivia question later?
You can give it to me. I might get it right. I might not.
All right. Well, we'll hit it. We'll hit it here in a minute. So, just looking forward to next season. Who's the 5 biggest legitimate contenders for the title? Kansas City's back,
Bills,
right?
Chiefs, Bills, Niners, Bengals.
You don't like the Eagles in the top 5? Will they just overachieve?
Well, I was going to say Eagles.
That might be number 5.
The only thing that makes me leery is they have like 10 or 11 starters that are free agents.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many guys? If it's the same team, I love them. But they got Kelsey might retire and Lane Johnson needs surgery. So
yeah. There's a lot of question marks there. A lot of question marks.
All right, what about a team that's that you could see like rising up?
Like who's the dark horse?
Yeah, you got a dark horse, Biggie?
I got a super dark horse for you.
So maybe not a Super Bowl contender, but like could make some noise in the playoffs.
Is yours an AFC South team?
Yeah.
Is it the Colts? No, it's the Titans.
Oh, no, I have an AFC West team. Sorry, the AFC South.
So it's the Broncos.
Yes.
That's close.
No, I think that Sean Payton's that good as a coach, and if anything is left at all in Russell Wilson, he'll get it out of him. And the other thing is that the group that bought the Broncos,
Walmart,
they take money and they wipe their butt with it, like every day.
Don't you wish you could do that, Biggie?
They will spend whatever money it takes. If something isn't working with Russ, they'll find a way out. They'll buy a way out.
They'll build a Walmart right in his front yard because they're everywhere.
I like right there. The other team I like in the NFC, and I'm not sure why, I think the Carolina Panthers have a chance to jump.
Why? Because they got rid of McCaffrey and all of a sudden won 7 games?
Next year, the Panthers are this year's Jacksonville Jaguars.
They could be. Yep. They could be. I was going to say, is the Colts roster that bad if they just got the right...
They hired a guy that we don't know if he still wipes his own butt or if his mommy does it.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the Eagles a minute ago not being a lock to be back in the conversation, didn't they lose both coordinators?
Yes.
So it's a whole new ball game there. So I'm kind of with Biggie being out of them being not in the top 5.
I would go Broncos Panthers if I had to pick one from the AFC and one from
the 2 teams you think will make some playoff noise next year, not Super Bowl.
Yeah, from where they were just playoff noise.
Just make it to the playoffs probably.
Who do you think is going to have the biggest fall? Because there's always a team that does like what the Rams did, not necessarily wins the Super Bowl, or the Bucs who had won like 11, 12 games and then they barely get in with a losing record.
My dark horse in the NFC is going to be the Detroit Lions.
Now, who do you think will be the biggest fall?
Oh, fall? Well, I didn't give my dark horse, so we just heard his. So I at least want to get mine out. Biggest fall? I mean, Tampa is going to be nowhere close to contending for a division title, so I think that's an easy one. Outside of that, I think you're going to see the same names in the AFC back up there.
So if the AFC team's the one I could see taking the biggest fall would be the Buffalo Bills because they are so dependent on Josh Allen. There's eventually going to become a time where he can't take as many hits. What do you have behind him?
Yeah.
You can't run the ball. Your defense isn't great.
The Ravens. Big fall.
We don't know. We don't know what happens there.
He's not back. He's not coming back.
I mean, I don't think he is either. But I mean, stranger things have happened.
Is there any chance staying within that division that Deshaun Watson gets right and the Browns are a playoff?
No, I don't think so. I think that's going to go down as the worst contract in NFL history.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happened to him? Just too many wax buttholes?
I mean, man, I think
didn't play for too long. Or?
Yeah, I think it's the time off. It's the scrutiny. I mean, he probably is wondering what his teammates are thinking the whole time. Like this guy, like.
See here, of course, I would say I would think a whole season of practicing, but he was in practicing while he was suspended, correct?
Correct. He couldn't show up till week 7, and then they gave him. He had like 4 weeks. He had a preseason.
I mean, so would that like change things where he has a full normal seison next year? I mean,
man,
be better.
It's going to be now or never. Like he rather because he's not the youngest cat in the game here.
Right.
His window's kind of done open and closed, I think. And I don't know. I mean, if he comes out and he has like a Pro Bowl caliber year, I wouldn't be that surprised. But I also wouldn't be surprised if they're burning his jerseys if they bought him.
Yeah.
I mean, the Browns do Browns.
All right, so shifting gears, NFC, why the Lions as their your playoff team next year?
What is it? Why the Lions?
Why the Lions?
Because
by the way, you really went out on a limb picking a team that was 9-8 and finished tied for the last playoff spot.
Who is it though? It's the Lions, though.
They eat kneecaps.
Yeah, but just because they had 1 year.
Lions never build on anything.
No, I know. Like it's more. In fact, it's more of a risk because you know what their track record is.
That's like past their peak, and you're saying like 11 wins.
No, that makes this the riskiest prop bet out there, more than likely.
So 11 wins, right?
I think they could win 10. I think it's really. Just
some big gains, one win,
right? But that gets them in the playoffs.
Yeah. And two, if you look at their division, we'll see what the Vikings do. They were horrible on defense. The Packers, if they lose Aaron Rodgers, are down. The Bears are always bad. So
Justin Fields wants to play in a dome too.
We talked all that crap about Stafford Goff trade, and yes, Stafford went and won the championship, but. Now that the Lions have committed to Goff, he hasn't been terrible. He's been a good quarterback for them.
29 touchdowns, 7 interceptions last year for Goff.
So I mean,
he was fine. I don't think he threw an interception after Halloween.
Lions fans are embracing him.
Yeah,
for good reason.
He's basically just another. Is there really a difference between him and Stafford?
Not at this point.
Just the same guy.
Not at this point.
It's like the Scooby-Doo meme. Right. Take the mask off. Oh, it's still him. Spider-Man's pointing at each other. Stupid shit. Yeah. Anyway. All right, so exciting stuff for the NFL. Let's take a breather, regroup, because we got LeBron we're going to talk about, and we got a little bit of baseball, so hang tight. All right, we had a milestone in NBA history as we have a new scoring champ. We have Mr. LeBron James has passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was in attendance. Hit a nice little turnaround jumper as I think the third quarter ended. But that always makes the conversation inflammatory about GOATs and whatnot. But let's just start with the significance of the moment. Did you catch it? What are your thoughts on LeBron becoming the all-time leading scorer in NBA history?
I actually watched it. One of the few NBA games I watched this year. I just happened to be up, so I was like, I might as well turn it on and watch history, whether I like it or not. So I did. He was efficient that game, but you could clearly tell that Kareem wasn't having it. He was there and saying the right things, but his facial expressions, you could tell what was going through his head.
Well, yeah, because he's openly criticized LeBron as far as who he is, ambassador for the game and outside
his
of
platform.
Yeah. So for him to be breaking it, and that look on his face was nuts. He was probably the only guy who was more unhappy to be there than Kareem was Anthony Davis.
Yeah, what's up with that?
So I got rumors on that. So apparently, I don't know if this was before that night. I would have to be. But GM LeBron was trying like hell to trade AD straight up for KD. And it fell through, and it got back to AD. So now team AD feels betrayed, and he wants out.
Like
that is why I just started hearing AD will be in Dallas next year rumors. I've never heard that before.
That's why.
Well, and then on top of that, LeBron's camp has. There's rumors in LeBron. I love how everybody's got their camp now.
Yeah.
And their entourage. But so LeBron's camp is frustrated with AD for good reason. He can't stay on the floor. That's been his career.
His downfall.
Yeah, he can't stay on the floor, and they're not happy about it. They're hoping that Darvin Ham will get a little bit more in AD's ass about it, but
you say eat ass.
Yeah, so he's probably gone. Like LeBron don't like AD don't like LeBron, and it was very clear on that photo when he passed him.
Man, imagine having the clout where you're like, I don't want to play with him anymore. Let me get Kevin Durant. Just after that, I'll go play with Luka. Is that just how this is? Like, you just build your own team anytime you want?
I got 2 guys on my team that are top 75 all time, according to the recent list that was put out. But, man, give me a different guys.
But if they could somehow stay healthy, think about Luka, Kyrie, and AD all in Dallas.
That'd be dynamic.
That would be. Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be must see basketball viewing there.
Well, because if you put AD with a couple of actual shooters, then big things could probably happen. Of course, if he'd stay on the floor.
I got a funny Luka stat for you that I heard today. Not funny, but it's really cool. With as high as his usage rate is, many shots as he puts up, he's got a 44-game streak going of doing one thing every time he gets on the court. Can you think of what it is? It's not get 5 assists or something like that. For 44 straight games, he has done this.
Is it a stat or is it like an action?
Taking a charge.
It's a stat.
So that's a stat.
Wow.
Come on, man.
He shot at least 50% from the field or better for 44 straight games.
What's his field goal percentage?
I'd have to check it out. I heard it today on. It was stat of the day on the Dan Patrick Show.
That's a hell of a stat. Like you don't think about anybody with that type of game shooting above 45%. Like, let alone for a streak like that.
So before we move off of LeBron real quick, the best analogy that I've came up with, and I put it on the page today.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Is, to me, LeBron is Emmitt Smith and MJ is Barry Sanders. Yes, LeBron's got the stats because of longevity, but we clearly know who the better player was.
Correct. Except Barry didn't win any titles.
Yeah. So, it's kind of a slight to Jordan saying Barry, but you know what I mean.
But Barry is clearly
stats-wise
the better of the two, right?
Stats-wise comparison, obviously. But to me, because Barry didn't care about all that.
Yeah.
Like, he knew what he was.
It was funny. That guy was the quietest guy, never spiked the ball or anything. And then when he retired, every time he does an interview, he don't ever shut up.
So, yeah, but to add the comparison, that's a stats comparison. But then when you throw in that Jordan has 6-0 in the finals, 6 rings, more than LeBron, then, so like, it's just, to me, it's dead.
You're right. And Barry Sanders never lost in the finals either.
There you go.
So, you're the parallels.
It's not even close, but the thing that's got me the most, and I'm glad that LeBron has passed the record now, is that for all these years, right, Kareem's had the record since we were in elementary school. When has Kareem ever been said, well, he's the GOAT, right? So now it's just another LeBron new age thing. Oh, he's got the points record. Now that makes him the GOAT. You couldn't hit the original bar, so you keep trying to change it. What I'm hoping is that if the Lakers, who are 13th in the West right now, don't make the playoffs, ESPN and someone else will finally decide they should push a new player, a new face down their throats.
Did you see the quote that he was on some show, Stephen A. Smith was, and he was talking about, I've covered both of them.
I've covered them all. And
the difference between LeBron is everybody respects LeBron, but everybody feared Jordan.
That's true.
And I was like, man, that is a very illustrative way to put it, but that's 100% what it is. Like, it's not saying like there's not a healthy respect of competition, that he's not the guy, but like, yeah, Jordan, like nobody liked him either. You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't there to be your buddy.
Hey, to put the nail in the coffin on who's the GOAT, whose shoes did his kids wear when he broke the record?
They all had Jordan's on.
Case closed.
Yeah, it's we're never gonna ever disagree on this argument with the three of us. We just have it so anybody listening can just know for sure that it's not debatable. But everybody wants to keep talking about it. It's just are we just old and salty boomers? Is that what we are?
I mean, clearly not. His freaking sons are wearing Jordan shoes.
Did you see Space Jam 2?
No.
Oh, my God.
My son did.
Did you ground him?
He's the GOAT. Everyone else will tell you it's MJ. People that watch the both play will tell you it's MJ.
Yeah. Just that's when I knew I became the greatest of all time.
A great career, but it's kind of like if you play long enough and you're healthy, you're good, you're going to have all the stats. Look at the baseball player. Like, who's a better hitter, Pete Rose or Ted Williams? Well, it's Pete Rose, right? He's got the most hits ever. He's the greatest hitter ever. No.
I'm glad how you found another analogy for our baseball people. That was good. Mm-hmm. I like that. Mm-hmm. I guess put a bow on NBA conversation real quick. There's a trade deadline. I don't really keep up with it that much, but I know you already mentioned the big one with Dallas, with Kyrie.
And then KD went to the Suns, so did we just go ahead and crown them?
They went from 19-1 to 4-1 NBA championship odds with that trade.
I would love to see Chris Paul finally get his ring.
Yep.
If it don't happen this year, it ain't ever happening.
Right.
I like that move a lot. And the other thing, I'm kind of curious because the West is so loaded. Golden State, if they can get healthy in the playoffs, they're still that championship team. It doesn't matter if they're a 4-seed.
Why can't they win on the road though?
7-22
it's so weird.
22-7 at home.
Dude, talk about a bust of all time. James Wiseman, number 1 or number 2 overall pick? Was it number 1 or 2?
He was number 2, yep.
Overall pick and shipped to the Pistons.
Yep.
What happened to that dude? Was it Memphis? Was that who it was?
He played for Memphis for like 5 or 6 games under Penny Hardaway, and then he had to leave the team due to like some type of infraction. He was getting paid.
But no one cared. Like they're like, this is sure bet right here. It just flamed out.
That's I don't know. So the scouting report didn't get it right. You know, they missed something. But to your question, yeah, the Warriors are still going to be dangerous if they get there.
Well, the Warriors, they'll be there. That's what I'm saying. We have the Suns, who to me would be a favorite if they're healthy. The Nuggets are doing their regular season thing again. Where do you draw the line as far as who's a contender or pretender? Sacramento's going to make the playoffs. They're a 3 seed. They're not a title threat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Memphis is a 2 seed. They're not a title threat.
I mean, for me, it's clearly Boston, and then Phoenix. They're there.
And Milwaukee.
I like Denver. You know, I'm not saying Denver always seems like they flame out.
But I feel like Denver.
But they're healthy this year.
Yeah.
They have all their pieces.
As of right now, like you feel better about Denver.
Junior's playing great ball.
It's like up until
Joker's going for the Larry Bird. It's going to win his 3rd straight MVP this year.
So think about this real quick, though. This is changing gears, but so Russ Westbrook signed that max deal, right?
Yep.
He's on his 5th team now during this max deal. He's been traded that many times.
You know who he reminds me of? Like once he hit those mid-early 30s, AI. Like I always think of AI as a Sixer.
Carmelo.
Carmelo. But then when I look at AI and like...
Oh, that look at Shaq. Then Shaq's career.
Yeah, Shaq was just trying to get every color of the rainbow with these jerseys.
The big shamrock, the big cactus.
Those last few years, they just bounce around.
But like, so Russ loved how the Lakers were looking because I think they were like 0-9 or something after he left or something like that.
They were 1-5 after they traded him until they won the other night.
Yeah, but so like they weren't winning without him. So he's like, see, it wasn't me. And then Patrick Beverley, he's one of the old school defenders of today's game, he got shipped out as well. And he said, listen, the problems in LA aren't talent. It's off the court stuff. He didn't elaborate, but you can't tell me that's not a toxic environment there.
Yeah.
Again, that's why he's not our GOAT. Yeah. It's the damn keeping up with the Kardashians.
He could play all those games. He was sitting periodically until he got the record. Then as soon as he does, it's this great ankle soreness that's killing him. He sits every game until the last game before the All-Star break, and then he's ready to play the All-Star game. Like, if you were really that hurt and they're putting it out there that it's going to linger all year and blah, 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 wouldn't you take the All-Star break off?
Absolutely.
If you really wanted to win.
Right. And he don't want to win. It's all about show.
Yeah. So they got 9 days off.
I put this on our page last week, and this is another thing that drives the point home. There was a video. It's so topical now. It was John Thompson, from Georgetown. Interviewing Jordan back in the day. It was like the Ahmad Rashad days. And he was sitting down with Jordan, and he was like, well, what does stats mean to you in your all-time legacy of basketball players? And Jordan was basically like, listen, if you play long enough, you'll get the stats. The stats will be there. He says, but, the only stats were wins and championships. Yeah. The rest will come. And to me, that's the most Jordan answer you can get.
Because he did actually care more about winning than anything else.
Like it was like, do we win the game? Do we win the championship? The rest will come. If you're winning, you're going to get stats.
Yep. If he cared about stats and that was his main thing, he never would have retired.
That's what he said. That's what he said. I would have retired at age 32. Yeah.
Man, I was actually, I texted you guys this morning. I'm sitting there watching I got ESPN Classic, thank you, Canada. And I'm watching it. And it's just this random game between the Bullets back when they had Calbert Chaney and
was that Chris Webber?
Juwan Howard, Rod Strickland. I think Googs was on the Warriors about
Ken Legler on that team?
I didn't see him.
52% from downtown.
But I will say, Rod Strickland, he had some sick handles, man. My God, that guy was ahead of his time. But, I'm watching it, and it's a game of rounds back and forth. And
pretty good for some plumbers.
Man, when Jordan gets the ball, though, everybody just freaks out. And, just little parts of the game, people act like it didn't get invented until 2010. And here's Pippen on a high ball screen taking a step back three and knocking it down. But, it's it didn't exist. It just wasn't focused. But
the analytics back then stated that, you want to impose your will and take it to the basket, get as close to the basket as you can and score that way. It was never, let's just rain through.
So I'm glad you bring that up specifically. So the physicality Jordan played with in this game, he had 50 points. He was just barreling down the lane, and he just had this ability to jump into people without drawing a massive amount of contact. He's splitting defenders and whatnot. But every time he got the ball, you just felt it man, you can tell everybody's honed in on that.
The frustrating part for me is the comps that people, the LeBron lovers and the MJ haters, they want to say that Jordan in today's game would be a comp to a Jimmy Butler or DeMar DeRozan type.
Yeah.
That drives me crazy.
They wouldn't say that about Kobe.
No.
That's so disrespectful.
Don't remember, they're all-stars, but come on.
Jordan was an absolute sniper from mid-range. He's the best finisher in the history of the game around the rim.
If he was told he could take threes and there were easier shots for him because of the way – because there was a –
Well, you listen to these guys, and they'll tell you, Jordan played today, he'd score 40 a game.
Now, again, we sound like salty old men when we talk about this, but just know your brand, right? That's what we are. All right, so congratulations, LeBron. You're now the all-time leading scorer, but you'll never be the GOAT in our eyes, and you're probably not even making the playoffs this year. And let's look forward to next year in AD in Dallas. And, it's been a little bit of a quiet winter for us when it comes to baseball, but we do have pitchers and catchers reporting, Mr. Brown. Is that correct?
This week, yep.
So I know some teams are already there. We also have the World Baseball Classic on the docket here up soon as well. So baseball's starting to pick some momentum back up. How you feeling, man? I know this is your jam. This is your sport. This is your life.
To me, it's I feel like a bear coming out of hibernation. Because it's the optimism is in the air. And I saw the photo from MLB posted about them down at camp in Florida and the freshly cut grass. And I'm my comment as the page was, I can smell this photo. And there's nothing better. So unless you're Jacob DeGrom, who's already missing time due to a sore side.
I feel like we've talked
on cue.
How's that even possible? Now, it's already that the Rangers are being precautionary with Jacob DeGrom, and it blows my mind.
Did Carlos Correa ever pass a physical?
No, I think the Twins just grandfathered him in. So, I think they use the old one.
Some law from 1827.
Yes.
That's why I told you I was happy to have the trade. Verlander's out of the division. DeGrom's in.
Yeah.
Because Verlander will make 3 times as many starts as DeGrom.
I'm telling you, this is the year your Mariners might finally take over from Houston.
Stars align.
But Houston's got arguably the best lineup in baseball.
And they're young. they got 4 or 5 studs that are 25 and under. So, I mean, I'm really optimistic, but
I like your pitching better.
How does a team like Houston just do that good with finding this young talent? Like, it's insane.
They do well in the international pool.
Everybody else, you mentioned that before, but everybody else, they just turn the whole roster over and like they'll throw money at it until they build it back up. But
and that's what drives me nuts about the trash can bullshit. I mean, like, get over it. These guys are freaking good. Like, they're good. They're a good team.
Like, Houston to me is like, they go down to South America and they get 7 guys who don't speak good English, but they can play great baseball. And then there's like a Bergman or a Tucker that goes with them. And like, that's their squad, and they just kill you. Like, Alvarez just looks like he's freaking playing Little League out there.
And plus, he just took out the spy balloon.
He did.
With his recent home run. So we thank him for that.
Yeah.
No, but like, in all seriousness, everyone was so worried about losing Correa. And then what happens? Jeremy Pena comes in as a rookie, and he's the World Series MVP.
Yep.
So, I mean, the Astros are just fine. But I do like your chances in the West. It could be a dogfight if everything goes well for you.
Yeah, I think this year, if we stay healthy, I like our chances because I finally feel like our pitching's better than theirs.
I agree with that. And what strides does Julio make in year 2?
Yeah.
Hopefully avoids the sophomore slump.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. I think he's just that uber-talented guy that isn't going to have the big sophomore slump.
And now that Judge has re-upped his contract in New York, do we see him going crazy again, or is he settle in now and just do his like 40-ish?
I think you're probably going to have like 2 or 3 really good years. I don't think he goes over 50 or 55, and then I think he drops off.
Because he's 30 years old right now, right?
Yeah, 32, I think.
Is he that old? Oh shit!
No, might be. It's 30. It's 30. He's
thinking,
played for 6 seasons. That's it.
And he gets 3 good years. But with the way the game is now, could he hit better, longer? Yeah. But last year was one of those rare years where he stayed healthy the whole year. I don't know how often that's going to happen for him. A guy that big as he ages.
Yeah. So, something to look forward to with you, Chad, and me as well. I'm going to continue my stadium tour. And my goal is by the end of this year, I'll be halfway there. The goal next year is to start heading out west. But when we got to Erie, we're going to Cleveland for the first time.
Yep.
And luckily, the Astros are in town.
It should be a good game. So 2 playoff teams.
We get a good matchup there.
Jacobs Field, or I don't know.
I think is it Progressive Field?
Progressive.
Ah.
And we get to chant Jose in the crowd. I'm telling you right now, I'm buying a Rick Vaughn jersey. I'm going to wear my Wahoo hat, and I'm getting some bottle cap glasses, and I'm going to the game like that.
Are you cutting the sleeves off the jersey?
Too high.
No.
Too high.
What?
It's too high.
Is it? I don't know what the
I don't
reference
know.
is. I'm clueless.
Major League.
What's too high?
What?
The guy sitting in the stands. When he gets
Yeah, so he hits the home run, and they're like, yeah, it's too high. And then the guy's like, what's too high mean? Like I just asked him, so I could have played it off like that.
Yeah, we didn't do a good job of that.
I kind of did on accident.
That was a very good inside reference, though.
Yeah, so I mean, it's like, what's that mean, too high?
Are you going to do the Rick Vaughn haircut in the back?
Yes.
Potentially.
I got you covered.
Just lightning bolt, really.
I can do it. I got you.
The Buddha trimmer.
Get the Buddha trimmer.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm telling you that. I'm going to do it. I'm ready.
Get some theme song. Get a little Bluetooth speaker with us. We can just break out anytime we want.
That's right.
Wow, thing.
You think we'll get harassed if I'm wearing a Chief Wahoo hat?
No.
Do you?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't know. I'd be curious for the experience.
Yeah. So, do you all have, I mean, I know me and Biggie's planning on going down to Atlanta to watch the Braves and Mariners. Me and you's going to go to Cleveland and watch them and the Astros. Do you have anything else on the docket as far as MLB games?
I mean, we'll definitely go to a Reds game, a time or two, as much as I don't want to. So
that's the biggest question. Who's going to be the worst team in baseball, you or the A's?
That's toss. It's a coin flip. Yeah. I mean, it's...
You got more payroll by Joey Votto alone than the A's.
Yeah.
You still paying Ken Griffey Jr.?
Well, yeah. It's like one of those Bonilla deals. Yeah, it's just, why do we have to talk about Cincinnati? They're not even worth talking about.
We don't. Great Hall of Fame. Please visit if you haven't been there.
Great Hall of
Three
Fame.
stories. You won't be disappointed.
Real quick on just baseball season, rule changes. What's officially gone into effect this year?
Bigger bases.
Why? What's the point of that?
I guess they think it's going to help prevent injuries by stepping on toes and stuff.
Well, so the bigger bases. I
thought they wore the oven mitt.
They went from 15 inches to 18 inches.
Yeah.
Are we going to see more stolen bases?
I think that's
we will. It'll spike up a little, but the only problem is now Altuve looks like a frog on a lily pad. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, all those bang bang plays now you're going to be safe.
Yeah.
So the bang bang play is now going to go to the runner.
That is
slide to the outside part of the bag and be safe every time.
So I mean, with that being said, though, the projections for stolen base leaders in MLB is Acuna with 35. So that's still down.
Yeah. So have they ever changed the size of the base before?
Not to my knowledge.
All right. So
no, the same at least for the last 100 years.
Yeah,
and think about that. With all the advances in athleticism, speed, and ball speed and velocity, you just talked about the bang bang play. Whoever figured out the dimensions of what the field needs to be, they weren't stupid. It's
the test of time.
It's amazing.
You look at all the changes that have been made in the other professional sports or sports in general. And until now, baseball had remained true to itself.
Yeah. Now, do we have a pitch clock?
Yeah, that's in.
Okay.
15 seconds.
So you feel like we're going to get some called balls out of this, or do you think everybody will adapt to it pretty easy?
I think early on we'll have some issues, and then they'll adapt. I mean, that's what they do.
Would it have been better to, or is this just blasphemy for players? Would it have been better to eliminate all the pauses in between at bats where you're taking off and you're adjusting your glove?
No more rule?
Yeah. Sean Casey he had a routine.
Oh yeah.
I don't need a pitch clock, but let's just not have a timeout every time we turn around. But
yeah. Also with the shift, okay, so no shifts.
Yeah.
So I found out something this week that kind of blew my mind. What?
You go ahead. I saw a diagram of the field of what they're going to do to counter the shift.
Yes, that's where I'm going. So it's because the rule stipulates what infielders are allowed to do.
They can't. You have to have two players with both feet on the infield dirt or infield grass.
Here's the thing. Left field can go over to where the roamer was.
So left field could play second, essentially.
Yeah,
or third base. Short right field.
Right.
So your outfielder, as long as they're out in their, you know what I mean, they can go out there and do that. So really, we're not changing.
Do you think you're going to see a lot of that?
I think we will. Absolutely.
Yeah, because
especially against lefties.
Yeah, you'll see it against lefties.
Unless people start learning how to hit oppo, I mean, that's well, I didn't really think that one through, boys.
No, I'm like, really? I assumed that it was. I didn't read the rule of the fine print. I assumed it just meant you couldn't have players in a certain spot, but I guess it specifically said.
I mean, we had the shift back when we were kids. That's when you just go easy out, everybody up.
Yeah,
that's what they're gonna do now.
I remember when I was in high school, even to this day, where I was left-handed, and I was never a pull hitter. They'd always be like shift, and the whole outfield would shift to right field. And I'm like, thank you for leaving the third baseline open because that's where I'm hitting it, and I'd get a triple. I mean, I'd swing late on purpose. It's just funny.
So the shift band may not really be a shift band.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how it works. But when I saw the diagram, it blew my mind. I was like, wow. So nothing's really changing.
So are you going to open?
You have to be kind of ballsy to do it, though, because you're leaving two outfielders instead of, losing your third baseman. Now you're losing your left fielder.
If you hit in the corner, you're running for days.
You're not shifting with the guy on first.
Hitting the corner is a triple.
You might shift.
Inside the park.
It's at least a triple. Are you going to opening day?
I'm not this year.
Okay.
The Braves are opening up in Washington.
That's actually closer.
I think it's Washington. Anyway, so I'm not going. They have a real bad habit of opening up on the road.
Yeah.
But so I'm planning the Mariners series for sure with Biggie. I'm going to go to. My plan is hit Baltimore and Washington the same weekend. I want to hit Baltimore or Washington when the Braves are in town, and then have it be the same weekend Baltimore's playing at home.
Yeah.
So hit those two together.
Camden Yards be pretty sweet.
And then go to Toronto, obviously, whether they're playing the Braves or not.
I don't know if they if they play them in town at the same time, Baltimore and Washington.
Why wouldn't they?
I feel like I remember hearing one time that they were in one of those situations where like
TV rights?
they're never going to be there at the same
Because
time.
they're both on Massive?
They both are in the same. Yeah,
I need to research that.
I'd be curious.
I was just hoping to catch the Nats with the Braves because the Nats are so bad. I'd like to at least enjoy the Nats experience.
you get a dub. You know,
And then I'm going to fly to Miami in September. Check that out.
going to Miami.
Yeah.
There you go.
Big Cuban booties. Shake it, shake it.
So, can you recite all the Pitbull lyrics to every song that you'll need to know before you go down there?
Nah.
You're just missing out on life, man. Is there anything specific in Miami other than going to a game you'd want to see?
I just said Cuban booties.
Cuban booties. I know where that's at.
Pitbulls are good if you train them right.
That's right.
Well, Biggie, I had a trivia question specifically for you. And Mr. Brown, if you can see that, this is a list, and that's all you get because you might be his lifeline. You might be able to help him.
All right.
But this is a list of the players who caught one of the 737 touchdown passes from Mr. Tom Brady. So my question to you, Biggie, is can you name the top 10 or what percentage of the top 10 can you get?
Well, Gronk caught the most.
I know, just don't name. Just give me your over-under. How many can you get? Can you get all the top 10?
No, I probably could get 5.
All right, so you can get 5 of the top 10. I think you're selling yourself short.
I think he'll get at least 7.
I think you might get all 10.
Nah, we'll see.
All right, so Gronk, he's number 1.
Edelman,
Number 2.
Welker,
Number 4.
Deion Branch,
Deion Branch. Yep. Number 6.
Randy Moss,
Randy Moss. Number 3.
David Gaffney.
David Gaffney. Jabbar Gaffney?
Jabbar Gaffney.
No.
Sorry.
No.
I was thinking David Patton.
How many is that so far?
Troy Brown. Let's see. Troy Brown's number 11, so you're on the high side there. He's gotten 1, 2.
Danny Amendola.
Aaron
Hernandez.
Hernandez is on there.
Shane Green should be on there.
No. Not in the top 10. Got a bunch of tight ends.
Yeah. He likes tight ends. Ben Watson.
Ben Watson's on the list.
Is that 8?
I don't. He didn't say these two, did he? The top 2. I don't think he said those.
Oh, he said, yeah, he said one of them.
Welker.
Yeah. He said Walker.
All right, so you want to know who you're missing in the top 10?
He's got 9 of them.
Is it David Patton?
David Patton is in there. He's missing 2. 3. You're missing 3. You got 7. Because he didn't say him, did he?
No, I thought of him, though. I immediately thought of him.
And then these 2.
No.
Do you remember them? All right, Big, are you tapping out or you got anything left?
They're in the top 10?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. Chris Hogan.
All right, I'm going to end the suffering. Mike Evans.
Oh, duh. I was only thinking of fucking Patriots.
He's number 5.
I knew he was going to do that.
Yeah,
he's
Mike
not-
Evans.
And then you said Ben Watson, but what about David Givens?
David Givens.
And
I said David frickin'. So I took David Givens.
And Gaffney.
Jabbar Gaffney.
And then Daniel Graham.
Oh, Daniel Graham.
I would have never remembered
remembered
Daniel Graham.
All right, Mr. Brown, how many touchdowns did Mike Vrabel, before he was a fighting Mike Vrabel and he just played for the Patriots, how many touchdowns do you think he caught from Brady?
5.
12.
10.
Wow.
Linebacker caught 10
Including the
touchdowns.
playoffs, he caught 12.
Oh, okay, Mr. Asterisk.
No, and I'm just...
So Hogan and Amendola, Godwin and Brown are the next few out there. But it's a pretty big list.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's a lot of people on there. I forgot about how they just never had receivers in New England, and it was always Just your Deion Branch, your David Givens,
I thought you
your
said
David
James
Patton.
White.
Oh, you said James White, didn't you?
No, he didn't get it.
You didn't get James White, so
No.
running back.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the other one we missed.
Yeah.
So it's
You didn't get James White, did you?
I thought I said James White.
maybe he did. I don't know.
I don't remember that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Either
I
way,
said Shane Vereen instead of James
You
White.
did say Shane Vereen.
Okay.
yeah. So Gronkowski had 105. The next one was Edelman with 41.
No, a big gap.
Yeah. So back to your conversation earlier about Gronk being the GOAT of tight ends. I think he is right now. I think Kelsey's just starting to make the case. That's all I was saying earlier. I wasn't trying to upset the big man here. It was just an observation.
Well, if you watch the game,
Just if you watch the games.
If y'all 22 and get back to me.
I get a semi from blocking, you know.
So I have a question for you guys. We're talking football here. We were talking Chiefs earlier. Won 2 Super Bowls, been to 3 of the last 4, potential dynasty. So we talk about dynasties all the time in sports. So in our lifetimes, the last 40 years, give me your Mount Rushmore of dynasties across sports.
that existed while we were alive.
Yeah, I'll give you
Like
my 4 for you guys. You can think about it. I've got Patriots and Bill Belichick. I got the 90s Bulls, and we can pick the same ones. You can do whatever. I got the Joe Torre Yankees and the Gino Auriemma UConn women's basketball.
Look at him not being misogynist.
2 separate 80-plus game win streaks.
All right, so I'm with you on 2 of them for sure. The Patriots didn't they go like 10 years not winning though?
But they won like 12 games every year. They did go 10 years between winning Super Bowls.
Okay, I'm just thinking the
played
titles
in 2,
here.
but they lost them both.
Like as good as the Patriots run were, like man, them damn Cowboys in the 90s were so feared. Like you knew those Super Bowls were over before they started. And they clearly were. So I don't know. Like I just remember as a kid like that, and that's the reason why we have the Cowboy fandom nonsense that we have today because of that stupid crap.
Get a lot of memes from that.
Barry Switzer was just a mouth breather, and he won a title with him.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, when your line average is 350, you're going to do that.
And that was on Coke. Imagine if they didn't have Coke to keep them thin.
Yeah, they all have small caps.
They were like the Sean Kemp, the only guy I've ever seen do Coke and get fat.
It's true. It's true. I
So
don't know if there's anybody you're missing, per se. I mean, obviously you had your Niners of the 80s.
then but we're kind of younger, so like I don't know if that one has the same amount of
I
impact.
think
Well, there's some other ones you could pick. You got the Warriors 5-year run where they won. 3
Yeah, that's
titles.
true. But I think
You
the
got
Bulls
the
is the
Spurs.
clear one.
Yeah.
the Braves for the regular season.
Yeah, the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. 14 straight division titles probably never happen again.
But the Joe Torre Yankees, I agreed with too. I mean that was. I mean Yankees.
4
were-
World Series in the 90s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's tough to do.
Yeah.
We haven't seen that in baseball since. So, I don't know. I mean, I like the UConn and Pat Summitt, Tennessee. Like those are the 2 squads. Like I just have a hard time with those just because the sport hadn't caught up yet.
Well, the one I left out because I thought one of you would throw it in right away is the last 10, 12 years of Alabama football.
Yeah,
That's the greatest college football run ever. If you throw out the old school or Oklahoma winning like 47 straight games in the 50s, none of that counts.
but I mean, for them to do what they did in the era it is now, I think it's more impressive because it's crazy how college is. It's an even playing field, but it's not.
Alabama lost 2 games last year. It was their worst season in 11 years.
Yeah, you lose 2 games at Alabama, they might start talking about getting Nick Saban a retirement package, which is crazy, especially if they look and see his assistant is down the road winning titles in the next state over. So, I can see, it'd be nice if we just had that locally where I could have lofty expectations.
So the thing that stands out to me the most when I was thinking about this earlier is if you look at the last 40 years, you could have the Lakers in the 80s, Bulls in the 90s, you got the Spurs, you got the Warriors, right? Basketball's got decades covered. Football, you got the Niners, the Cowboys, the Patriots. I'm not going to get into hockey. College football, you got Alabama. If you get into baseball, other than those dominant Yankees teams, there hasn't been a run like that where a team has won 3 out of 5 World Series.
The Giants won 3 and 6.
Yeah.
That's the only one.
I never would have considered them a dynasty.
No, it didn't feel like
they
it.
just showed up in October.
Yeah.
Because Mad Bum went nuts.
But like the point, like the Yankees, and I'll even say the Braves, they just had a habit of losing in the postseason. But like those were teams you feared every year.
You knew they were going
to be there, and like the Astros are that now, right? Like if you're a fan of any other team,
the Astros have been to the ALCS 5 straight years.
like you just expect them to be there. Like the Dodgers tried to be that, but like you didn't fear them. Like in the postseason, they're a wreck.
It is weird too. As good as the Dodgers have been, they've won how many straight division titles? They're like the
one
only team
title.
that could do what the Braves did with the 14 straight. Like they're on that kind of a run, but you don't worry about them in the postseason. It's weird.
Now the Padres are taking it from them this year.
Yeah, I mean it just goes to show that even though baseball doesn't have the salary cap, there's still a certain degree of parity, at least at the top level.
That's why there's been no team to repeat in over 20 years.
Yeah,
and that's the crazy thing is that without a salary cap, baseball is one pro sport that should be kind of like what the
you're absolutely right. Why wouldn't it be like just a domination?
Yeah,
it just shows you that it's not all about money. You have to draft and develop
like that. They make a movie called Moneyball. Well, the thought that goes into that, whether it be Moneyball or something else, is what makes teams like Oakland, Kansas City, these smaller tier teams able to compete. It just kills me that if you go to the last 40 years, we can think every other sport, you can think of multiple dynasties. Baseball, no salary cap. The Yankees can buy their team every year. They can spend $400 million, same thing with the Dodgers. They might only win their division or not even win their division. It just blows my mind. I feel like baseball should be the one where you have unlimited funds to spend.
You think it'd be a little more established, but it's a lot of these sports. People are more injured now than ever. Like it's crazy how many people are on the IL every time you turn around. I mean, it's crazy. And like NBA, like even though you have the load management now, like has it stopped the soft tissue injuries that keep happening? Like it's not helped any of this stuff.
So if you're looking for a career, get into sports medicine because you don't have to be as good as a weatherman.
That's it. Well, you got to know how to ice some ankles and knees. But that's easy stuff.
Yeah.
Go to your community college today and get signed up. Well, I think that's enough for this. I missed you guys last week, but I'm glad Mr. Brown had a trip to Disney World. If you had to go again, would you go?
No.
Just like that. I wouldn't go either. Biggie, you're going, aren't you?
Happiest place on earth.
It's the most expensive place on earth, to some degree. Yeah, at least you got to experience it. Hopefully the kids had a decent time. But, yeah, I don't blame you for not wanting to go back anytime soon. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that'll wrap up another episode of the We Don't Know Sports Podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. We will be back next week as we don't have anything scheduled to disrupt business this time. But as always, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.